Peace, is your host Cyclonius. Welcome to Verbal Vortex, and can you please let the people know who you are?
Yeah, Watusi87, the Masterwords Craftsman, Universal Street Consciousness in the building, you get me?
Yes. This is the first episode for Verbal Vortex, so welcome to the show, brother.
One.
Yeah, it's
I am one.
It's for me, I'm just happy that you're here and you're the first person to help kickstart this show off. Do you know what I'm saying?
Jeez,
So
I love that though.
Yeah, man.
I can't lie, I do love that though.
Respect, King. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah,
all right, so let's kick it off like this. What inspired you to create an album centered around the theme of love and opportunities?
You know what? You know the actual title. The actual title came about organically. And the meaning behind the title is, you know, you can get very far in this world by stepping on people. You know, and it's kind of like a dog eat dog situation in this place, you know, this place we call Babylon, or this place we call the West, or whatever, right? And it's kind of locally and internationally accepted that, you know, to get to where you're going, you have to be a bit of a evil person or a bit of a bastard or whatever the word people uses. But that is true in some regards, because we know like there's many psychopaths with a lot of money in their pocket and so on and so forth. But on the flip side, I think karma works in the same way that if you're tremendously righteous and tremendously good to people, that also gives you those same opportunities. You get me? So at the base of that is love, you know, love for oneself, love for creation, love for people. So that's the meaning behind the title. And you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's a metaphor for this this game we're in, this music industry we're in, you know, where you're expected to do what is asked of you in regards to the mainstream, and also in regards to what the corporations want,
Right.
and what they're driving, the agendas they're driving. And you know, it's also that is also apparent, but what is also apparent is the love we put in our music.
That's right.
And that also creates opportunities, and that also opens up doors for things that money can't buy. You know what I'm saying? So that's the meaning behind the title. And you know, No Name came up with the concept of Leo, so I was just keeping that, you know, so it's spelled love equals opportunity,
Right.
as the acronym spells Leo. So I'm just keeping up with that concept as well, you know, creatively just engaging with the legacy of that.
Dopeness. Mentioning No Names, how did your collaboration with No Name Beats come about for this project?
Well, No Name Beats is has been one of the main producers that I've been using through RU1 Fam, the collective RU1 Fam. That's the only producer we've used for the most part. So that's been our main beat maker for a lot of our journey, and it just makes sense, you know. So, but the more detailed version of how this particular project came to be what it is that No Name released a beat tape called Leo.
Oh, okay.
He released a beat tape called Leo, and yeah, I was a bit like, should I even say this? But I want to say it anyway, you know, just you know, well, at some point someone's gonna want to hear this. So anyway, he created a beat tape called Leo, and I just love this. I love the beat tape, man. It's mad. I was rocking with it when it came out for a while, man. It was one of the main things I was listening to, just the beats that he was creating. And then he kind of put the word out to say, look, like, these are just beats. Like, anybody who wants to use these beats, just use them. Like, you get me? And I was just like, don't tell me that. You get me?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't tell me that. Like, I thought, because I thought it was sacred to him in that way, where it's like, you know, it's his baby, innit? So I was a bit skeptical about art skin initially, you know. Just thought, like, you get me, just enjoy it for what it is. But when he said that, my ears pricked up, my brain alerted. You get me? So I was like, boom. Let me see what I'll go on for one or two of the tunes, and then I just kept on going to the point where I was like, actually, I got a little project here, and I wanna express it, and I just wanted to record the songs. I just wanted to record the songs and listen back to them and enjoy them for myself. That's initially how it came about, and then, boom, lo and behold, we have a solid project, and it's like, it doesn't make sense just to have it on my laptop and just enjoy it for myself. You get me? You know, I've really felt like, you know, that's when that project was the beginning of me kicking into a next gear as a writer.
Okay.
And it's been a domino effect since.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Can you share some insights into your creative process for this album?
Yeah, well, do you know the deepest thing, yeah? I can't lie. The deepest thing is like, I think it was 2022. I think it was 2021, the end. I think it was like the transition from 2021 to 2022, right? And I was doing a water fast.
Right.
5 days. I done 5 days that time. I try make sure I do a water fast every year. For the last like 4 or 5 years I've been doing that. Because I tried it and I was like, no, I need to keep this up and keep on challenging myself. I find riches within that. So boom, I was doing this water fast, right? And I was just like, I made sure I didn't do nothing. I was just drinking water, going straight to my bed. And not really socializing. My woman at the time, I wasn't even really giving her too much attention or whatever. I was just kind of just medsing, you get me? But within that time, I wrote a lot.
Okay.
I wrote a lot because I had a brief moment where I was like, I was considering like how much I really want to put into this music, because I had some negative experiences or perceived negative experiences. And then within that moment, I was just like, I just came back to the writer, and I just wrote a lot of stuff, man. I wrote a lot of stuff, and I was just like, I need more beats, and I realized I had beats from No Name.
Okay.
And then that was it, because I was clear.
Okay, yes.
I was clear, you know, so I didn't really expect to have a whole project. I just kind of just thought, let me just zone in. But yeah, I did that in that period, and then I was just streaming. I was just coming. I couldn't even tell you how it even happened. I was just streaming, like it's like a stream of consciousness was just flowing through me, and that's literally the birth of that project.
Okay.
Initially, I just left them. After I wrote them, I just left them.
Yeah.
I didn't do nothing with them, and I didn't really have much impetus to find somewhere to record them or whatever. But after a while, I was just like, you know what? I need to get back into the zone, and I was like, I got all these songs sitting here, and I was like, yep, boom. So that's kind of the process I went through of creating that project. Got the tune with Mike Kaji on there. What you saying, my G? And that tune, we were just freestyling.
Okay.
That tune is built on the freestyle, because that's what we do. Me and Mike have this relationship where, you know, when we link up, or we have done over the years, it's a bit more, you know, focused on making things happen now. But generally, like, since I've known Mike, right, we've linked up, and that's mainly what we've done is freestyle. Like, I have that relationship with him because he's a freestyler. He's a freestyle maniac, and I'm a bit like that too. He brings that out of me, and I'm not around a lot of freestylers.
Right.
So, you know, when I am, like a lot of the time I'm just like, yeah, I'm at home, you get me? So we have that relationship, right? And that one there, that he's recorded it. He recorded it on his phone, and I listened back, and that day we was on a mad thing. He was literally on a mad thing. The freestyle's crazy. But that particular tune anyway, like, he freestyled his whole verse, and we listened back, and I was just like, bro, like, that's the tune. He was like, what? I was like, bro, that's the tune, bro. Cause it was funny. We was laughing. It was catching a vibe from it. You get me? But it was flowing.
Okay.
The way it flowed was like, bro, we're onto something here, and the chorus wasn't the same, but he kind of used some melody that he had and made a chorus out of that. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bounce off that. But then I thought, allow it, man. He's got that vibe, man. And let him hold the chorus. And yeah, I didn't really like my freestyle enough to put it on a song and say, let's put this out.
Right.
But you guys kept to the concept of trying to be humorous and not yeah. So as we were, like, the process, like, insights to the process. People always ask me, yeah, like, so how do you guys, like, write your lyrics and create songs? And I'm just like, it's very natural. Like, most MCs are gonna ask that. I was just gonna say, well, I just heard the beat and I just started writing to it for what I felt. And there's a lot of that going on. But yeah, the song with Mike Kaji, it was based on a freestyle, and as we were talking about before, isn't it? It's based on a freestyle, and we listened back to this freestyle, and it's like, boom, we gotta make a song out of this, you know. He even says it, like, on his verse. He goes, yeah, like, what does he say? I'm on the mic, yeah, I rhyme okay. Like, we found that hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm rhyming now. What you saying? Like, I didn't even know what they're saying. Like, what am I saying? Like, we was doing all of that, right? And we was just busting joke, and then we realized, like, it's quite a cool concept. It's quite a cool concept. Like, what are you saying? Like, what are we saying? What are you saying? Like, let's get to the base of that. Like, and it's like you can spiral around that for ages, because it's literally that kind of thing. So, you know, that's how it works. Like, that's some of the insights of the creative process behind the project, and also the project, like the beats, like they have like little kind of skit, kind of like you have like the Ras brother talking on the songs, right?
Yeah.
So especially on the outro, I got creative, and I was just like, how can me and this guy have a conversation?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I don't know if people listen to it really get that, but that's what's happening. Like, it's like, you know, he's saying, no one else, big up No Name, and it's Can't Forget Myself, and, you know, all of that. And then I come in like, well, no one else but me, open your eyes, come see, you know. He says no one else, and then I come in and say no one else but me. So it's like, yeah, we're having a conversation, and I thought, yeah, I like doing that because it challenges me creatively, and also it kind of directs what I'm gonna say, kind of guides what I'm gonna say. So that's part of it. And also just piecing together a project, it's like, I like to kind of like do it in a way where there's some sort of story happening. Yeah, there's some sort of chronological order to how things are presented. So it's like, you know, you have different aspects of one's personality, and I felt like these beats kind of helped me find that, and also the kind of, you know, moods of the project are chronological, like in terms of like a natural feeling, human feeling.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the insight of how I put this project together, you know.
What message or emotion do you hope your listeners will take away from this album?
What message or emotion? Do you know, like, Me, I'm one of. I feel like I'm one of the few. I don't know. Let me not say that, but I am one of those people who puts a lot of positive intention into my writing. So when you receive it, you receive something that connects to your spirit.
Right.
So that's really what I want people like. I don't really like. I might play with the emotional side of things, because you know people who can connect with emotions, they can speak to people, and I do that, and I know I can do that really well. But beyond that, I'm like, I want to move you. I want to move you, like, so it's like I want you to be spiritually moved, like, and mentally, like, provoked. Not just provoked, but like make you like go into concepts deeper, like. So I got this song, right? I got this song Everybody Irie on the project, right? And on the second verse, right, I start opening up. I start opening up and I talk about a girl. I start the song talking about Marcus Garvey and my mum and all sorts of things. I go through a whole heap of things. It's like me putting all that I went through in that moment or on that day, or all that I was processing in that time into the song. And it's like, you know, just to give people a real human experience.
Yes.
That, like, it's like, yeah, I can see, I went through that. I feel that. You get me? I know that. And you get me? And it's like, yeah, I'm qualified to speak on your behalf, because a lot of us are not going to do it. A lot of us are not going to make music, and their voices need to be heard too. So, but on the second verse, I say, young queen likes to kiss me in my favourite spot, and that says a lot. Still I showed her what amazing was, they did it quick, what a way to stop. And you know, that sounds a bit too raunchy, and I knew that, and I was like, damn, do I really want to like get people thinking of like things like that? You get me? But overall, it's not about that. It's a metaphor for the relationships that man and woman have. That's right. Yeah? And it's like, my favourite, it says more about me, I mean more about you than me, if you really want to go to a raunchy place without really thinking about how deep this could be. You know what I'm saying? And just like, the first thing is like, oh, he's talking about sexy business. And it's all about, and it's like, yeah, maybe I am, but maybe I'm not. And if you look deeper, it's like, there's a bigger message behind it. So what I'm really talking about, what I'm really trying to get people thinking about on that song, or with that particular lyric, right, is like, I have this thing with women, like we all do, right? As like, you know, 1 minute you're Superman, right? And the next minute it's like you're strangers. And it's like how strange life could be, you know, where it's like you could be this person's world in a moment, you know, and share the deepest parts of yourself, your body, your mind, and all of this, and then boom, nothing. And it's a human phenomenon. Yeah. And it's like, I just find it so fascinating, you know, that, you know, life moves in this pattern, and I'm just bringing that to light, and I'm kind of just letting people know that I feel you, like man and woman. Like, I feel you. We all go through this. It's not just you, because sometimes that stuff really hurts. And to be honest, I kind of went through a mad mental process just from that. And I was like, as a man, you don't really get the space to talk about this with your friends or family or whatever. So I put in my music.
Do you know the wickedest thing when you're saying that? Yeah, like I was having a conversation about kind of just like lyrics and stuff, and I was saying, you know what, I don't. Music, my notepad is my journal.
No doubt.
You know how enough people will have their diary. I've always been like, nah, but you know, I express through whatever I write. So
100% I see what you're talking about, man. You know, like for years people have been like, you should have a journal, and I've tried. I've literally tried, and and literally this year I was like, nah, I'm doing this journal thing. I got a book. I got 3 books, and one was for journaling. And I started it, and then I just fell off, because I'm already doing that.
This is it.
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm already doing it. I'm putting my whole experience in my music
Describing,
now.
That's it.
Yeah, so like, not my whole experience, but like, you know, symbolically like who I am, I'm putting it in my music. So I go very deep, and this is only Love Equals Opportunity is only the beginning of this person, because I haven't been so personable in a lot of my music. It's kind of like I'm showing people how good I am as an artist. Now I'm just like, you know what, there's something deeper, and I'm channeling something deeper, and there's something more spiritual to me, and it's like you're getting to know me in a deeper level, and Love Equals Opportunity is the beginning of that. One sec, you know, after this.
How do you think?
No, do you know what? This I got a thing, a reminder. Do you know what that reminder is? That reminder is reminding me to breathe.
Okay.
I put a reminder on my phone every day.
And what do you mean by breathe? What sets your normal breathing apart from what you put that there?
Voluntary breathing and just breathing in general is two different things, right?
Okay.
It's about intention, right? But I do have a breathing exercise that I do, but even I don't do it every day. I try to. It's an aspiration to do it every day. I used to do it 3 times a day. I kind of fell off. Now I try to do it at least once a day, right? This breathing exercise. But every time I hear that alarm, boom, it's like breathing. Be intentional with your breathing, because it connects you to your spirit.
That's right.
So just going up and down life knowing that you're breathing is not the same. It's like running a marathon and doing the same amount of steps because you're busy. Like, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's
No, that's dope, bro. And I like that. That's organic, naturally happening. But that's just showing that you're a person who's just moving with purpose.
100%, man. Like, you know, I've been on this earth long enough to know that I'm not fulfilled if I don't implement those things. You get me? And some people are fulfilled doing all sorts of wildness and, you know, not really being disciplined enough to think in that way. And more power to them. Sometimes I have been a bit envious of them, like, you know, ignorance is bliss, they say.
Yeah.
And it's a blissful state to be in.
Yeah.
You know, the spiritual road is a lonely one. And it's difficult at times, you know. And you know, so sometimes, you know, it's like, oh, why did I choose this hard road for myself? You get me?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have it any other way. You know what? My cousin asked me something similar not too long ago, and I will say that, you know, I poured a lot out even before, and I'm a person. I'm a creative stream of consciousness, right? So it's nothing for me to put out 20 songs, 15 songs, whatever songs, right? Or these higher numbers of songs. This one is more compact, and it's like, you know, I did want to make it more of a classic album, not just kind of like, because of what I've realized is what I felt is that a lot of my stuff has been kind of dense, right? Because I've been putting a lot, a lot of my stuff has been kind of dense because I've been putting a lot out, you know, like my stuff is at times quite wordy,
right?
Like three verses of like bars after bars after bars. My thing is about punchlines and double entendres and all of that, and you know, initially I was like, how can anyone resist this? But it's actually too much for some people.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? And not even like in a bad way, overstandably, you know, some people want to just have an easy listening experience. They don't want to think too deeply. So I've kind of learned a lot, like, about how I'm received and how I potentially received and how I like to receive music. And so with that said, putting all that on one side, the other side of the spectrum is that I wouldn't say like it's apart from anything I've done. I would say it's a continuation, just a bit more older, a bit more mature, a bit more, you know, calculative in like, okay, these are the steps I'm making, a career steps I'm making, you know. This is my musical legacy instead of just pouring, free flow, you know. And kind of like, you know, also keeping in mind what the state of the world is, what people need at this time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's part of that, and what music needs at this time. I feel like, you know, if you're not in tune with what the cultural norms are, or you know, or how your game is growing and evolving, you become outmoded, outdated, and you know, it's like, that's fine. You want to do the vintage thing, and we classic hip hop heads anyway, so that's gonna happen anyway. We're part of a world that don't fully exist anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's naturally gonna happen. We're not gonna just jump into a trend because that's what's popping right now. We're not from that era of, you know, just following trends. I'm certainly not. So, but you also got to be aware that the world you're living in is constantly changing, and music is a big part of that. And it's like, if you're going to be stepping into that, you got to know what you're putting in, because you can be more intentional about what you put in. So I'm kind of thinking like that more, you know, and moving like that more. And I feel like that's kind of like the continuation of the artist, you know what I'm saying? And who do I want to be known as? Like, no matter what, I'm like, well, I'm just me anyway. But if I put something out, you know, it's who I'm going to be known as. Like, if you just hear Love Equals Opportunity and you haven't heard any of my other stuff, that's what you're going to know me as. That's Watusi87. That's symbolic of Watusi87.
Yeah.
And same if I put a drill track out tomorrow, that's symbolic of Watusi87. So before I was just like, well, I like this music, I'm putting what I want to hear out into the world. Now I'm just like, nah, I got to embody this whole thing, this whole universal experience, and know that I got to be very intentional about every move I make, everything I say. I'm intentional about it. So why wouldn't I be intentional about putting it out? You know what I'm saying? So that's it.
What song on the album holds the most personal significance to you, and why?
Well, Everybody Irie is my favourite song on the project.
Okay.
It's my favourite beat, first and foremost, on the project. And I suppose that's why I chose that one to be more personable, talking about the things that I talk about. So if you said, you know what, we're gonna have to delete all these songs from the face of the earth, but you get to keep one, it would be Everybody Irie. Because I tapped into a deeper side of myself. It's kind of one of those moments where I feel like maybe I unlocked something or untapped something within myself as an artist, where I felt less guarded.
Right.
And I felt more free to be like, yeah, well, this is me. And I went through this and I talk about this. And, you know, especially like as a Ras, like people like, they see you in a certain way. You get me? And it's like, Ras does a thing where it's like, you know, there's a lot of guidelines that you're not really allowed to break, otherwise, you know, people will strip you of that title, and people do whatever they want. It's fine, but the point is, like, I'm coming out into the world as a representative of something that's dear to man, dear to so many people around the world. So I am very aware of that, and you know, saying like, you know, Young Queen likes to kiss me in my favorite spot. It's like that could be seen as an indisciplined way of representing Rasta. You know, if people go deep and but really and truly, this is my experience.
Exactly.
And I'm owning it, and I feel like, you know, I went through those processes when I was writing the song, and that's why I can talk about it now. I went through those processes of when writing the song, and not the fact that I'm going to be judged, just not wanting to misrepresent myself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And misrepresent, like, my people, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I kind of went through those processes and, you know, came out on top with something that I'm very proud of, that can represent the whole spectrum of Watusi87. That I think mainly that song is like the most reflective of me as a person and my journey more than the other songs. You know.
Okay.
If you listen to that song, you will find out a lot more about me than say what you say in my G. You know, a lot more. Or the outro. You know, the outro is a bouncy little something, and it's a vibe. It's a vibe. You know, just putting all these like different flavors on the canvas. You get me?
Yeah.
But everybody Irie, if I had to say, you know what, listen to one song on the project that kind of gives you an insight to me as a person, like the person you would meet like right now, it's 100% everybody Irie.
How do you envision the album being received by your fans and new listeners?
I envision them saying, this is a classic project. This brother needs the world to pay attention.
Okay.
And you know, if he's not got that investment, you know what? I need to be part of his core fan base to support that investment in him. That's what I want people to get from that, and new listeners, and people just at bare minimum to be like, this is someone to pay attention to. This is someone who represents this field of music really well.
Right.
And anytime this brother's putting out something, I want to know. Because if he can come with this, then, you know, the foundation is set solidly. You get me? That's what I want from the people then.
Did you face any unexpected surprises while working on the album?
When you say unexpected surprises, do you mean?
Just meaning like, you know, something like you have your natural order of how you do things, or there's a natural way that you do things. Was there something that you thought, oh, you know what, this isn't the normal way that I'll maybe approach making my album, but you know, I'm going to go for it this way and see how that comes out?
Well, I feel like this answers your question in terms of what you're saying. Like, the song, like the most commercial song on the project of It's What You Say with Mike Kaji, right?
Right, yes.
And I feel like that song, it was a bit of a headache to get it to get recorded for me, because we had the song for time. It was the last song recorded.
Okay.
Yeah, the skies are crying. Yeah, it was the last song recorded on the project, right? Because Mike was being long. He was being long. He was being long, and I got kind of I don't know. I got kind of personal about it, and I reached out to him saying, "Blood, like, what I want for you, like." And he's my brother, man. He was cool about it. He was like, you know what, it's on me. You get me? Let's make it happen. You get me?
So how do you see this album fitting into the current landscape of hip-hop music?
Yeah, man, I feel like it's the first of many for me, on this new wave of, you know, going quite deeper into who I am, and not just you know, what I like to put out. I feel like this is a breath of fresh air. I got this lyric, man, on the tune we did together.
Okay.
You know that I said, without us, it just ain't interesting.
Yes.
And I feel like that. Like that. You know, we got some amazing MCs like representing, but there is that like. What interests me about hip hop is that you couldn't keep count of how much flavors there were, current and old and coming. Now it's like, it kind of just feels like you know, we've got we've got the guys, and that's it. And I'm like, no, that's not it. Like, come to this side where we rock, and you'll see, like, this is a breath of fresh air. And I'm one of many on this side of the world that have the ability to showcase that. But that's what I'm about right now. You know, that's what this project is about. It's like, you know what, like, we spokespeople of our generation, a generation that is not quite the youngers, not quite the elders, somewhere in between, where we're seen as the youngers by our elders, by a lot of people, and we're seen by the elders by a lot of people, but we're not really either, if you ask me. We're kind of the bridge between both generations, right? So boom, like, spokespeople of our generation have been what, Kendrick, Cole, Chance the Rapper, some of the sisters, Rhapsody, Ciroc, but you don't really get many from this part of the world, you know, and there's many talented brothers, and I know most of them, and you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, we're well qualified to be that breath of fresh air and keep the thing alive, because it's not just about hip hop, it's also about a cultural legacy of human development. This stuff is spiritual, man. Why is music one of the main vessels of influence in the world, if not the main vessel of influence in the world? You know what I'm saying? Because it's spiritual, it's deep. Like, you can hardly explain how we make it happen. It comes from some deep place, you know. And that's like, that's not exclusive to one part of the world, one area, one set of people. But we're 100% amongst those people. And that project, Love Equals Opportunity, is part of one aspect of that. So no doubt, this breath of fresh air is part of the evolution of music, you know. And I feel like, you know, hip hop is you know, seen as one thing. I think if you listen to Love Equals Opportunity, you'll realize that it can be something else. You know.
How do you navigate the balance between vulnerability and strength in your music?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I feel like just showing like vulnerability in just being able to talk about things that you find challenging, that I find challenging, that's kind of puts you in a vulnerable position.
So.
But I think that vulnerable position actually shows your strength. Because really and truly, no matter what people are going to say or think about me, I still did it.
Yeah. I'm
free. You know what I'm saying? Even those barriers that I placed before myself, and you know, of like, do I go this deep? Do I not go this deep? Do I say this? And what if I do say this? What are the consequences? What am I implying? So on and so forth. I let the spirit guide me to a place where I'm just like, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm free, and my intentions are commendable to me.
Yes.
So I'm kind of like, yeah, 100%. That makes me be strong enough to talk about anything. Talk about that time when I nearly got robbed. Or talk about that time when I got punched in the face and that shit hurt. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or that time when that girl had me freaking nearly breaking down. Or, you know, that family member that I lost, you get me? Whatever. It's like, some stuff is like, it's part of the journey. I'm not ready to talk about it because I don't talk about it to myself. But those things that I'm open about, those things go in my music in various ways, and some of that stuff does highlight the vulnerability of having this human experience. But I feel like I feel like it's the duality of life, man. Like, humans, as strong as any human could ever be, they're fragile, man.
Yes, definitely.
We're fragile beings, man. Like, you don't feel fragile, put yourself in a friggin' sea of ants. This little thing, put yourself where there's bare mosquitoes. You're fragile. These things don't listen to you.
Of course not.
Or come against some wild animal. Like, you'll see how fragile you are. You know, your skin is soft. If you never had the brain power and the spirit, you'll be food for nearly every living being on this planet. Humans are fragile in that way, but also, lucky for us, we do have spirit, we do have wisdom and intelligence, and that's where our strength comes from. So that's our duality. So to not be able to express that as an expressive being, whether it's music, dance, art, whatever, I think you're missing the trick. You know, I think you're missing the trick, and I think the art form is there for that. You know, so I just kind of just go into the realms of like, what makes it me, and then I go into the realms of what am I made up of, and what is this experience all about. And it's part of all of these things. It's part of my triumphs, and it's also part of my challenges, you know. And that comes through the music. You know, not so much like at times, because you know we've been defending ourselves for a long time. We're not gonna just come out and say, oh, I'm a weak being, you know. Like, we've worked so hard to show our strength, you know, and tap into our strength. So it's not gonna just be a thing where it's like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna show fragility and vulnerability for the sake of it. But there has been times when life has kicked my ass and I've had to get up and say, you're not winning this fight, we won't work together. I'm not gonna let life just be against me. You know, life is gonna work for me. But I have had moments where I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Like life, why are you doing this? And you know, to come out the other side and be like, yo, like, this universe is working for me, not against me. And know that I have been that other person where it's like, no, I feel like everything is against me. It's like, yeah, I am a perfect example, like most of us, of that duality. And I feel like it's very important to see that. It's very important for young people to see that, for your peers to see that, for elders to see that, because, you know, as much as you're strong today, you might not feel strong tomorrow, and that's cool. But you might need someone to tell you it's cool, or show you it's cool. Like, and as much as you don't need validation from other people, we are people, or we are beings that learn from everything from someone else. Everything. So it's only natural. You know what I'm saying? It's only natural to have inspiration, you know, and Definitely. Influence. It's natural. Otherwise, how are you gonna know how to improve, or how are you gonna know what not to do? Normal. You get me? So yeah, I think that's how I strike the balance with my music, you know, just kind of being honest about who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I hear that. So other than the experiences and memories that you've had creating this album that you've shared, can you share a particularly memorable moment from recording this album?
Yeah. Can I share? Do you know what? The whole thing is just like one fat moment, like right now. But you know, just kind of like when I've recorded these projects, you know, and like I've like before they come out to the rest of the world, you know, they come to me first, and I listen back to them, and I've had quite a few moments where I've been listening, and I'm like, damn, son, I killed this, man, I killed this. And that's one of the best feelings for me. You know, like when you can really appreciate yourself and really appreciate what you're offering. So that's one thing. and also just sharing it with people before it came out, you know, and people being excited for me, you know. And yeah, and when it came out, people are proud. So all of these are memorable moments that do fuel me continue on, and also doing the artwork. I really enjoyed that process of making those decisions, you know. It's like I like fancy, but also like simple. And yeah, I wanted to keep it very simple. I wanted to keep it very simple and artistic, and something that really represents me. And I feel like, you know, in some strange way, the artwork is a perfect example of that. So that was also memorable, man, that process of creating artwork. I like that. You know, I didn't do that by myself. I done that with Mr. Lee, my brother from another continent. So yeah, that was that. Those are all memorable moments, and that, you know, the freestyle. Yeah. Also, I had like little private listening sessions, and like, you know, just like getting people's opinions, and like people were generally like impressed and had nothing to say except for good praise. And you know, it's kind of opened up the doors for people to be like, you know what you should do? You should do this, you should do that. And they got excited for me.
Right.
So those are all memorable experiences for sure.
How do you see the album contributing to your artistic growth and trajectory as an artist?
Oh, no doubt, man. That's easy. I have kind of touched on this earlier, but you know, as an artist, it's like you listen to that project, and I think you hear a complete artist. Like my previous projects, you know, I was younger, and you hear good music.
Right.
But I feel like when I listen back,
yeah,
I can still hear that I'm developing to this point.
Yeah.
That's me personally. You know, some people probably there's a few people that would like those projects more than this one. That's how it goes, you know. Illmatic is Illmatic. You know what I'm saying? Most people would say Nas is never gonna top that, but he's still going and he's still killing it, right? So I feel like this project is a well thought out classic body of work that I don't think I would say that before.
Okay.
I would say this is a dope project. I would say other things. I wouldn't say that. I would say this is a classic body of work that if I was out in the wild, like as the biggest thing in hip hop right now, I would say, yeah, this project is a good representation of why I should be there. My previous projects, I personally would kind of be a bit more critical. You know,
like that. You know what that makes me think? Like, what are some of the key themes or topics that you wanted to explore through the lyrics of this album?
You know, I want to talk about women, man. I want to talk about women. I want to talk about family. I want to talk about the galaxy. I want to bring myself to the table. Like, everybody has a voice, right? And it's like, no point me speaking someone else's story with my voice. That's for them.
Right.
So this is my story, man. This is my story, and my story is beautiful. So that's it for me, bro.
Are there any specific tracks on the album that you are particularly excited for the listeners to hear that you haven't really touched on at the moment in this conversation?
Yeah, you know what? Movie scene. movie scene, as I said, Grenadian African sprinkled with some yard spice. Like that's been like who I am. Like for most of the last 20 years, like this has been an important part of who I am. Being Grenadian, being African, being Jamaican. Like personally right now, I couldn't care if no one considered me any of these things.
Right.
Like it's not as important to me, even though I'm all of them. And it's not as important to me to be identified as that. But I'm empowered when I see my Grenadian brother and he's like, yes, Grenada. You know, this is what shapes us, and I was like, this is what made us who we are in many ways. So not to shun it in any way, you know, but I feel like, you know, these countries and stuff like that, they were also man-made.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot more deeper things than nationality in this human experience to fixate on.
Yeah.
Personally, that's how I feel. Not to take away from the place where my mum was born and the place where my dad was born, and the place where I resonate with as in terms of my ancestors. But yeah, I said that a Grenadian African sprinkled with some yard spice, and I think on that movie scene, I'm just so cool. I'm just so cool on that track. You get me? I'm just so cool, and you know, I was like, you know what? I don't have to be lyrical, like on this track, to be admired or adored or, you know, respected as a lyricist. But on the last verse, I got in.
Right.
I got in, and I remember going through that process of like, no, now it's time to go in.
Yeah.
You get me? But I like the conversation I'm having. You know, I thought it was quite clever. I thought it was quite clever of me when I was writing that song. I thought it's quite a clever thing to do, to use this word "scene" like in various ways, like magazine or things I've seen, or you know, zine, like sprinkled with some yard spice, zine, like I'm making references, cultural references throughout the whole song in a clever way. So yeah, that's 100% like one of them. But also Eyewitness. Eyewitness is a song where I was kind of like, it's out of all the songs on the album, I was like, I'm not sure how this one is going to be received, because it's quite different. It's kind of weird, like spatial, and like the sounds, like I don't really hear beats like that in hip hop.
Okay.
So I was a bit like unsure about how it's going to be received, but actually, like, quite a few people have said that's their favorite song.
Right.
So what I really like about that song, though, you know, I really like about that song is just like it's kind of like me describing the third eye in Babylon. I think it's quite a deep concept still.
I was about to say, like, could you touch on its side?
Yeah, it's like having a spiritual, like, they call people the third eye. If you don't know what I mean by that, your mind's eye, right? Like the spiritual thing of like intuition, for example, right? How do you have intuition? You can see, but it's not with your actual two eyes, right? So that's what I'm talking about. But having that and being in tune with that and connecting with that in a place of oppression, mental oppression, and so on and so forth, that's connected to the atrocities, some of the major things that's wrong with the world, this country is responsible for, or connected to widely, right? So living in the place what I call the belly, right? And I said that at the end of the song, surviving in the belly like life in the room. Yeah, it's just like, it's quite a unique experience. And no matter how people feel about it, or even how I feel about it, it's a perspective that's that not everybody has. But you can visit it through that song.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant by that.
Dopeness. Alright, so yeah, finally, what's next for you after the release? And you know, us getting well, obviously the album's out, but what is next basically after Love Equals Opportunities?
Alright, so after Love Equals Opportunity. So me, I'm a collaborator. Nearly everything I've done in terms of music, since I've said, oh, this is something I'm putting time and energy into, like more than anything else, has been about collaboration. I've been part of collectives, been part of bands, managed events, all sorts of stuff. So just abundance of that, collaborations, but not just like being part of it, like I'm guiding them, I'm guiding the collaborations. I'm a figurehead.
Yes.
In the collaboration scene right now. You get me? So that's one thing. Number two is, over the last few years I've made a lot of music, and hit after hit after hit, and that's coming, and it's not coming with a whole heap of space between each project. I'm not waiting a year.
Right, I hear you.
Like, you know, I'm not waiting 6 months even. So that, like, you know,
continuous movement.
Continuous movement. Continuous movement. That's the pattern. And also, you know, the development of my shows, and also, like, you know, reaching out to. I'm not scared of corporations anymore. I used to be like, not even scared, like, but have a big disdain, because the music industry is a scary place, and I didn't want no parts of that. But really and truly, I'm powerful enough now to be myself in any situation. Yeah. Without having to feel like I have to be this person, or I have to fight all the time, you know, and burn a fire everywhere I go. You know, so that's also, you know, collaborating in that way, and, you know, and welcoming that and magnetizing those people, because those people are important at times as well. And just also just me continuously going deeper and deeper into who I am and sharing my experiences. Like I might go through something today and write a song about it. Yeah. So, you know, I don't even know. I don't even know some of the things that's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna happen. Like, I played chess, right? And I don't know what's gonna happen in the game, but I know someone's gonna win and I know someone's gonna lose, and I know that generally it's not gonna be me. But and then so within reason, within righteousness, and also wherever you are in the world, like Watusi87 has marked you down. You get me? So this is an international movement. Yeah. It's not a local movement anymore. It's not a national movement anymore. It's international, out to national, all types of national. But it's a universal thing. Universal street consciousness encompasses everything. You know? So that's what it is. And there's also stuff to do with music, but not like so directly, that one is involved with, and you're just going to keep on building this empire and making sure the solid foundations are steady. And, you know, music is a big part of that, but it's not the only part. You know, we community people, we people of the people. So there's that, there's poetry, there's youth work, and if you check out Watusi87.co.uk, you also get other aspects that are only exclusive to that page as well. So, you know, all of that is coming. All of that is coming. Big things are going. Yes. Or should I say, big things are going. Big things are going.
Could you plug your socials?
So yeah, Watusi87 That's on Threads. That's on Instagram. That's on Twitter. On Twitter actually is WATUSI and 87 spelled as a word.
Okay.
And on Facebook is WAT space U space U. No, excuse me. Reload. WAT space U space SI space 87. And that's who I be.
Well, brother, much love.